faculty thinks I've gone loopy, like some kind of spongy Mobius strip. That's why I'm here, isn't it, Dr. Dekker?
I can see people's dreams.
I've set up an experiment.
My dad is trying to hurt me.
Quantum suicide. Have you heard of it?
If I concentrate hard enough, and I know when the person's going to be asleep, I can have the dream with them.
Well, let's call him God. He creates this world for his amusement, something he can play with and occasionally alter to suit his mood.
It feels like the paintings are watching me.
Sometimes, when I walk through a door, it takes me somewhere else. Literally, somewhere else.
God loves chaos, but something goes wrong. Man and woman evolve. What was once chaotic becomes, well, more ordered.
It starts as a door-to-door saleswoman. Double glazing, probably.
Dr. Dekker, I think we both know what you dreamed about last night.
I've seen its silhouette changing through the window.
Because he thinks I'm evil. Because I can see things other people can't.
On the basis the central component of our universe is chaos, science can only document a perception of the chaos at any one given moment in time.
I did what you said, Doctor. They arrested me.
Which means that at any given moment, we can choose to alter our perception of the world, no matter how much chaos that would cause.
I thought you were supposed to fix me.
I'm telling you, it's eating people. And you're just laughing.
You're insane, Doctor.
Listen to me! You're not listening! It's your only bloody job!
Doctor, you're late. And after all those promises, never mind,
Doctor.
let's not keep the patient. You're late. And after all those promises, you're late.
Doctor, you're
and after all
late.
those and after all those promises, never mind. Doctor, you're late. And after all those promises, never mind, let's not keep the patients waiting. And if you want anything, just... Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm not going to be here. The police still have some questions they want to ask about, you know. And then after that, I'm dropping in to see Ben. He's still in shock, and I thought we'd show we cared. We do still care, don't we, Doctor? Good. Anyway, I hope you're all caught up on Dr. Dekker's tapes. I think Mariana is in first, but I'm sure they'll all become a blur by the end of the day. I'll see you later. Or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. I'll leave it to you then.
I'm Mariana. Are you feeling okay? That's what Dr. Dekker would say. I think you're supposed to tell me what's wrong with me. Isn't that how it works? The police keep picking me up for public nudity. I black out, and then the next thing I remember, I'm naked on the beach, like I've been washed up on shore. Nobody's pressed charges yet, but I can feel it. The police are getting suspicious. I do suffer from blackouts, which is strange as I can hold my breath for a really long time. But I'm not swimming before I black out. Dr. Dekker thought it was anxiety originally. Then he worked it out. He eventually decided it wasn't anxiety, but I'm not going to tell you his final diagnosis. We should have a fresh start. I don't want you influenced by the prognosis. I want to stop having the blackouts. I want to stop waking up at the beach. I want to remember those entire evenings. Can you suggest anything that might help? Will you do it for me? Will you watch me to see what happens? So, it's a date then. I'll let you know when. I work for myself. I make bracelets from things I find on the beach and sell them online. I spend a lot of time at the beach. It's just way more relaxing than anywhere else. You should come with me one day. I can show you all the sights. Dr. Dekker thought I had generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, because of the blackouts. He thought I was breathing badly. Do you think I'm breathing badly? You can check my breathing if you want. Do you want me to lie down? Can you tell just by looking at me? I'm not worried about it, just if you are. I'm not sure holding my breath too long is causing blackouts. I mean, it could, but I don't remember ever having a blackout when I'm holding my breath. I normally black out when I'm dancing. I like dancing. Do you like dancing? Dancing is good for you in so many ways. Just turn the music up, close your eyes, and let yourself go. You should try it sometime. I dance a lot at nightclubs. I know most of the nightclubs around here. My favorite is the Pearl because they sell cheap vodka shots all night. I don't drink. You think my dancing causes my blackouts? No, I know it's the last thing I remember, but I don't think it's that. Sometimes I remember more, but I'm tired now. Is that it for today?
I'm Bryce Hemmings. You must be the new doctor. Did you know Dr. Dekker? He was an antagonistic psycho. I hope you're not from the same school of thought.
I'm a grave digger, Doctor, and people are dying quicker than we can bury them. Originally, I was suffering with depression. Work was piling up, I kept missing deadlines. I wasn't used to all the failure. I got depressed. You'd think being a gravedigger had its perks, but it can be very stressful. There's a trend going towards burial rather than cremation again, and as well as running out of space, we're running out of competent gravediggers. At least ones that can use a shovel, that is. I'm not feeling anywhere near as depressed as I used to, though. Not since I got the extra hour. At midnight each day, time as you know it freezes. In my world, it just slows down to almost a stop. But I don't. I'm free to wander around and do as I please. An hour later, normal reality continues. It's my very own midnight hour. In the extra hour, I mainly catch up with work. It's a godsend. Sometimes I play chess against myself. It relaxes and strengthens the mind all at once. Henley Church, where I work, is located on an old Norman motte and bailey. You can't use mechanical diggers or excavators there in case you destroy a relic. I stumbled across a relic myself, an ancient chess piece, a queen, I believe. The best chess piece, the most freedom of movement. But they took it away immediately and proclaimed the whole east side of Henley Church a protected site of archaeological importance, which means we're not allowed to use it until the archaeologists have finished. I wish I hadn't told anyone. Henley Church is relatively small. Well, for the number of bodies they expect us to pack into the ground, it's relatively small. The whole building was once owned by Scientologists, but they handed it back to the community as a tax break, I believe, or they'd finished doing whatever it was they wanted to do with it. I'm not sure I believe in any religion anymore. I used to believe in God, not anymore. There are too many religions to pick from, don't you think? Then we agree. Have you watched Zeitgeist, Doctor? Some of it is believable, and the part about most religions stemming from the same basic facts. It's more likely they've all got it wrong than one of them has got it right. I didn't really like Dr. Dekker, and for quite a few reasons, actually. I'd rather talk about my own problems for now, though, if you don't mind. It's a bizarre thing to know you have an extra hour every day. I rarely ever sleep until after midnight now, so I can appreciate the extra time. I get a lot of work done in that time. I'm completely caught up. The depression is no longer an issue. 25 hours is a blessing for me. But apparently it's not real, and I'm insane for thinking it is. What do you think, Doctor? I thought it would be too early to make a diagnosis, but it's good you're having a go anyway.
My name is Claire Castleford, and as I'm paying a small fortune for these sessions, I'd expect you to be up to speed, Doctor. Being rich has its perks, but honestly, I would give it all up in a heartbeat if it could free me from this madness. Well, according to your predecessor, I'm a delusional psychotic with obsessive tendencies. Oh, and a history of violence. Sounds so cold when you put it like that, though, doesn't it? To be fair, there was only one violent outburst. That hardly qualifies as a history of violence. And he provoked me. I stabbed him with a steak knife. Shocking, isn't it? It was a brief moment of temporary insanity. Or temporary clarity, I'm not really sure which. David had been having an affair with his assistant optician, Iris. How predictable. Not just the affair, but an optician named Iris. I'm obsessed with my husband. It's absurd, really. Because he is here. And he shouldn't be. He's lucky to be alive. He almost died. My husband is not a well man. We've been having problems for a while now. His health, if you can call it that, has been deteriorating rapidly in the last few weeks. I can't cope with caring for him anymore. Since our altercation, he's become less and less active. His mind's become less and less active too. Such a delightful conversationalist at one time, now more of an enigmatic husk. David has trouble looking after himself. Sometimes I'll leave the lake house and he's just sitting in the rocking chair on the porch. And when I return the next evening, he's still there, just staring into the stars. He needs help, I know, but I can't hire anybody to care for him. David's staying at the lake house. It belonged to my parents, but I don't use it much anymore. I have the main house to myself. Delusions, as in seeing things that are not there. I'm not going to be any more specific. It's not true in any case. I'm not delusional. The most shocking thing about Dr. Dekker's death is that he didn't bring it upon himself. But then I hadn't known him for a very long time. Perhaps I was wrong about him. Though the fact that he drank so much is a good indicator of his mental state. I thought it was common knowledge that he drank. You could smell it on his breath when you got close to him. He kept a bottle in his drawer. Such a cliché. I tried to hurt David once. That's why I'm here, isn't it? I'm not proud of my behaviour, but I was very angry. It was a private matter though. The police should never have been involved. I never used to get angry. Ever. If you're angry, you're not in control. Isn't that right? And it would be very bad for me to lose control. Let's save that for another time, shall we? I'm rich, but I'm not made of money, and I'm fairly sure my time is up.
I'm Elin, I'm 25 and I'm a nurse. God, I sound like I'm on one of those dating shows. I'm not really looking for love at the moment. I'm sort of married to my work, but in a good way. Terry's one of the other nurses at the home. I don't think she likes me very much. I started seeing Dr. Dekker a few months ago. I thought it would be nice to have someone I could talk to about work. It can get a bit stressful sometimes. It can be sad sometimes. I don't like losing a patient, but that's the job. I don't get stressed about it or anything. It's not the job that stresses me. It's the people I work with, the other nurses. They're mean to me. They call me the angel of death because so many patients have died on my shift. I don't think they mean it. Obviously, it's not my fault. It just seems to happen that way. Three last month. 3 the month before that, I think. But only 1 so far this month, so that's good. Although one of my patients, Hilda, I don't think she's got long. She's one of the crotchety ones. Always swearing and spitting at me. Never got anything nice to say. Thinks we're going to smother her in her sleep or something. She doesn't bother me though. I've known a lot of doctors over the years. Most of them arrogant idiots who think nurses are just there to do their bidding, or worse. Dr. Dekker was different. He had a lot of time for me. He was interested in my problems. He was a bit offbeat, but yeah, I liked him. But then I like most people. I work in a nursing home for the elderly. I basically do end-of-life care. The usual things: making sure the patients are comfortable, making sure they're not in any pain, and I talk to them. I keep them company. Some of them get pretty frightened about what's coming. Well, those of them that aren't out of it on meds. I comfort them. I don't like it when patients are heavily sedated, especially when there are alternatives, like herbal remedies. I mean, imagine if you only had a few days or weeks left to live. Would you want to spend it asleep? Exactly. I feel like it's almost criminal, like you're robbing people of their last moments on Earth. You should be able to savour the experience, not sleep your way to death. I'm a qualified herbalist. It's okay, you can laugh. Most people think herbalism is a joke, but I'd much rather help my patients sleep at night with valerian or passion flower than lorazepam, temazepam or zolpidem.
I'm Nathan Peel. I'm a supermarket worker from, well, hell, really. It's like those montages you get in movies. Time passes, you wake up, shave, if you feel like it, shower, get dressed. What's the point? You get this day over and over, nothing changes. Am I in purgatory, Doctor? Because I'm stuck between this day and the next. Most of the time, anyway. Sometimes it looks different. Sometimes the birdsong will change, or the weather will be less bleak. Or that person who nodded at you yesterday doesn't do it today. But it doesn't usually change. You need a tragic event for change. Like a murder. I didn't see the driver. It was my fault. I pulled out and the lorry just rammed me. Well, Hannah. She was sat next to me. I was in shock, obviously. And when I came to, she was so close to me. It was like she was trying to hug me. But it wasn't right. Not natural. Bits of metal pushing through her. That was 5 years ago. I've been shrunk for that already. If I had that day again, I wouldn't make the same mistake. Hannah would still be alive. We'd probably have a family by now. I haven't had any relationships since then. I was fine for quite a while after the accident. Well, being treated for depression. I thought I was cured. It was only recently after meeting Dr. Dekker that I had a strange deja vu. I'm exhausted. Doctor, is our time up? Dr. Dekker was a complex man. I spent a lot of time with him, but he won't remember it that way. As far as Dr. Dekker was concerned, we had Monday, then moved on to Tuesday. But me, I had Monday 5, 10, 50 times before I got to Tuesday. I watched that Bill Murray film, Groundhog Day, to see if there's any clues. To see if there's any clues. That's how bad it's gotten. I'm looking for a cure in a Hollywood movie. Can you help me, Doctor? I don't know how, but thank you, Doctor. This is our first time around, and I trust you. I saw the conflict that Dr. Dekker was going through. Let's just say you might look back on your life and think there's nothing you would have done differently. No 2 days were alike for him in the end. Like he couldn't decide what to do with himself. He was like a kid in a sweet shop. He had so many options, he didn't know what to do. I suppose if you take too long picking, all your options run away. Dr. Dekker's murder was sudden, brutal. It's terrible. But Doctor, 2 weeks. 2 weeks I had of rolling days. No do-overs. No Monday. I wouldn't kill anyone though. I'd have to keep doing it, wouldn't I? Few things seem to move me forward. My fiancée, my childhood sweetheart. We met at secondary school. She was head girl, I was the quiet one. She liked computer games, so I instantly fell for her. I proposed in Goldshire. She said she didn't date elves, so I leveled up to a human necromancer and asked again. Sorry, it's Warcraft? We spent a lot of time on there. can't move backwards any more than a day. I don't really seem to control it. It's generally always on. I have to try and change something to move forward. Most of my days a blur. I'm not sure if it's the sleeping tablets I'm on or just how I've learned to switch off. I'm on temazepam. Dr. Dekker prescribed them for me. He thought I would sleep through to a whole new day. I didn't.
Oh, Doctor, glad I caught you. I thought you might want to hear what Ben had to say. Quick catch up? I'm not sure Ben will be coming in for a while. He's still pretty shook up about finding the body. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often in the line of work he's in. Anyway, he said he found the body at exactly 20 minutes past 10. For some reason, the first thing he did was look at his watch. That's all he'd say before he'd shut down. The police weren't very talkative either. Sorry, didn't you know? Ben's one of the night shift cleaners. I'm sure he's got some tales he could tell. Yes, Ben found Dr. Dekker's body on Valentine's night in his office. In your office. Yes, you know, the 14th of February, the day of love. Or remembering a massacre, whichever's more you. I wouldn't say we were best friends, but we did spend a lot of time together. There's only two of us that work here. I'm sure we'll become friends too, Doctor. Just try not to get murdered. The police wanted to know what I was doing Valentine's night, you know, when the body was found. I was at home, all on my lonesome. So I guess that makes me a suspect. I think the police want you to make a short list of suspects, or maybe even find the killer. You're seeing all the patients that were on the books when he was killed. There was no forced entry, so they think it might be someone he knew, or someone who had access to the office. Yeah, like little old me. Do you think I'm a suspect, Doctor? Oh, well, I wasn't expecting that. I suppose everyone's a suspect at the moment, even you. They did mention I needed grief counselling though, and I said you'd sort me out. I know you didn't agree, but I thought I'd let you know. That's very kind of you. He was stabbed, so that's quite a personal thing to do. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of the patients who had a problem with the treatment they were getting. I wasn't really in his social circle, so I don't know if he had any friends. In terms of enemies, I heard things get heated in his office sometimes, but I won't name any names. Susan, Annabelle, Melissa, there are some names, but they're not names of anyone I know. I'm just surmising. If you're unhappy enough to kill your therapist, they're probably not doing a very good job. I don't know exactly, but a stabbing of some kind. We'll be getting the autopsy through at some point. I'll let you know when. I didn't see it myself, so I don't know. But I heard it was a bit of a mess with all the blood and everything. You know, they have people who clean up after such things, though, so you really can't tell, can you? But don't worry. That's a new chair. All I know is the police took his chair. Forensics, I suppose.
I'm having a loop day. It's a do-over day? You won't remember. What's the name of your assistant again? You didn't know that yesterday. Can you remember where I met Hannah? Well done, Doctor. Yeah, we met at secondary. Wouldn't it be funny if my day loops if you fail to get a question right? I suppose it's funny for you. You won't remember. Anyway, I think I'll probably head home. This isn't helping. I'm having a loop day. It's a do-over day. You won't remember. What's the name of your assistant again? I suppose you did remember that yesterday. Can you remember where I met Hannah? Wow, memory like a sieve, eh, Doctor? Yeah, at secondary school. It's been fun, but I've got a pill.
Dr. Dekker gave me this pill. He told me if I took it, I'd never have another loop day. It's got a small skull and crossbones on it. Should I take the tablet, Doctor? You're cool. I don't think this is getting us anywhere, though. I'll see you tomorrow. Again.
I'm having a loop day. It's a do-over day. You won't remember it. What's the name of your assistant again? Well done. Can you remember where I met Hannah? Yeah, great. Is there anything you can say that's going to break this loop for me? I never mentioned a pill this time, or a tablet. What the hell is going on here? Are you reliving my days? Something somewhere has changed since you arrived. Like some kind of sim theory. It's a thing. Some professor believes we could be living inside a computer simulation and someone is controlling us. And there are millions of these sims. And someone somewhere behind a keyboard is just causing havoc. I'm starting to think you have that keyboard, Doctor. Wait, don't answer that. I don't want to know.
At at midnight each day.
On Valentine's night,
Time as you know it freezes.
20 minutes past 10.
Keep up, Doctor.
Thinks we're going to smother her in her sleep.
I'm a grave digger, Doctor.
I was at home,
David is my husband.
all on my lonesome.
Stabbed him with a steak knife.
Nothing changes.
I'm a qualified angel of death.
When I'm dancing,
You get this day over and over,
Hilda,
I black out.
I don't think she's got long.
and Laurie just...
Naked on the beach.
Hannah.
Is that it for today?
Ooh, deja vu. Are you sitting in exactly the same place I left you last night? Oh, that's where it all starts, Doctor. Anyway, do you think you can fit me in today? Looking at the diary, it's just the usual suspects, and you must be getting sick of them already. I've got this for you, too. It's some more footage from Professor Alderby that was hiding away. Well, come find me if you need anything.
Nothing, of course. The faculty thinks I've gone loopy, like some kind of spongy Mobius strip. But that's why I'm here, isn't it, Dr. Dekker? Him, God, the great old one, the elder god, Cthulhu, however you address him. Listen to me! You're not listening! It's your only bloody job! Well, let's call him God. He creates this world for his amusement, something he can play with and occasionally alter to suit his mood. God loves chaos, but something goes wrong. Man and woman evolve. What was once chaotic becomes, well, more ordered. Without chaos, he has less power. When there's too much order, he becomes impotent. So he needs to instill chaos again. And do you know how he does this? No, and yes, but you're being too granular. He needs chaos so he can return, and the only thing stopping him is you. Not just you. You and people like you. Psychiatrists, doctors, nurses. Anyone who is caring for people who are losing their sanity. You have no comprehension how important your job is, do you? He doesn't need your version of insanity to spread. He needs chaos. It's not the same. It's just a means to an end. They're not all cultists, unfortunately. Once you see the truth, it's hard not to spread chaos yourself, to cause further insanity and harm your own. I doubt it. But can I make you question your reality? Definitely. But in doing so, I would be promoting more chaos. On the basis the central component of our universe is chaos, science can only document a perception of the chaos at any one given moment in time, as by definition, chaos is unpredictable from one moment to the next. Which means that at any given moment, we can choose to alter our perception of the world, no matter how much chaos that would cause. In 10 seconds' time, there will be no gravity in this room, and we will float. 3, 2, 1. You think nothing happened. But where's your glass, Doctor?
I'm Lacey Hendricks. So you don't know about me then? Where to start? My next door neighbour in Jobson Hill, where I live, she was murdered. 80, and they diversion burgled her. But she was wise to it and started calling the police. They slit her throat with a bread knife. So I started a neighbourhood watch. It was me and Agnes. Everyone else thought we were overreacting. If they want their throats cut, that's up to them, living in their bubbles. But Agnes, poor Agnes, she went missing and still is. And that's what people think, but it's not the truth. It killed them. It looks normal enough. A smartly dressed door-to-door saleswoman. I know because I heard my other neighbours shout at her, "No Jehovah's!" They think anyone knocking is a Jehovah. But she said she was selling double glazing. I don't know, I didn't answer the door. Best not to nowadays. But I watched her go to Agnes's. Poor Agnes. She let her right into her house. I could only see the silhouette. It turned from a person into it looked like, I guess you'd call it a Medusa. Snakes for her face. And Agnes just fell to the floor. A few minutes later, the woman left, smiling like the cat that got the cream. That was the end of Agnes. I saw it with my own eyes. What more proof do I need? You're starting to sound like Dr. Dekker. He didn't believe me either. I was at Henley Church. They had a service that ran right up till midnight. For us less fortunates without a love in their life. Well, now. Do you have someone, Doctor? Do you have a love in your life? Garden club. You should come with me one night. It's a lovely way to meet new people. I didn't have much luck with him, like I said. He didn't believe me. He thought I was having a hallucination caused by the stress of my neighbour being so brutally murdered. Where is Agnes, though? I haven't found her, have they? Have they?
I'm Jasmine. I don't come in that often. What happened to Dr. Dekker? Oh. When? How? Sorry, you probably don't know, do you? When you see a painting, it stands still. When I see one, it's moving, like a mini film, like little vines. But when there's a person in the painting, they watch me, normally disapprovingly. Because they don't think I know how to appreciate art, because I'm too young. Yes, of course. Otherwise I wouldn't be working in an art gallery. I love art. I love paintings. Like I said, they move for me. When I want them to, normally. When I want to really get inside what's going on. But some paintings, I can't stop. I've been working on portraits, at home, outside work. But my paintings aren't so good. Nowhere near Providence standard. I painted a man, Dorian. You know, after Dorian Gray. I wanted to try and capture someone aging, so I divided the face into thirds and painted a boy, his father, and his grandfather in each third. It was hideous. And it started talking to me. That I'm ugly, that I have no talent, nothing will become of me. Is that true, Doctor? I hear it so many times with that wretched painting. It's in my head. But thank you. He was shy, and then less so. When I told him about my problem, he told me to set fire to it. Yeah, he could have been more specific. I tried to set fire to Providence. At that time, I thought the only way to fix my problem was to set fire to the entire art gallery. Several paintings didn't make it. Luckily, my boss didn't press charges. The police did arrest me, though. My boss, Petra, she's just lovely like that. Providence has gone through some tough times, and I've only been there a year. She invested her life savings, and it's still not making any money. Such a sweet lady. You'd do anything for her. Dr. Dekker told me to burn it. It was nothing to do with Petra. We had a display in the gallery based on Love Conquers All, so I had to work. Mainly it was a collection of giant hearts sat on things, but I ran into another patient, Bryce. I'd never really spoken with him before, but he's quite an art critic. I couldn't get rid of him until I finished work at 11. There's actually another guy who takes over on the night shift. I'm not sure if he kept talking to Bryce though. Providence is open 24 hours. There's not much to tell. I knew he was a patient here. I'd seen him in the waiting room a couple of times. He likes art and talking and looking down here instead of up here.
There's something I want to tell you about. Something else that's wrong with me. I think I've been getting a bit out of control in my hour. When I first got the hour, I was shocked, obviously. It took me a while to work out that everyone was frozen and only I could move, because I live on my own. What would you do, Doctor, if you had an hour where everyone was frozen? Go to a fairground? I I did think, what good could I do other than catch up with work? I did see a woman who was having her purse snatched, so I gave her purse back, and the crook, I placed him on a bus a few blocks away. I have no idea where it was going. She'd never really be able to thank me, so I took another picture. Sometimes I see a girl standing behind you. I don't know who it is. I don't know what you're asking me either. Possibly a relative of yours. Possibly a patient that died here. I'm not sure. She doesn't normally say anything. I spent most of Valentine's Day at the art gallery. Well, the evening part, anyway. They had a display with the theme, Love Conquers All. I didn't get most of the paintings, but they were well done. I dug the grave for Dr. Dekker. I helped carry his coffin to the burial site. Do you know what? It didn't weigh enough to have a body in it. Why do you think that is? No, the coffin wasn't empty. There was something in it. A decoy, I'd imagine. I'm guessing he was buried somewhere else, or cremated. Somebody, somewhere, didn't want his body going in the ground. Do you want to be cremated or buried, Doctor? If you're buried, people can bring you back. You don't want to see people when they've come back. Well, that makes me feel a little better. There's a young mother, divorced, who lives opposite me. Jessica. She's friendly and says hello to me, smiles. I've always wondered what she looks like naked. So 1 hour, I broke into her house. She was standing in her bedroom. I took it as a sign. I took off her clothes and... I took photos of Jessica when she was naked. When I'd stripped her. When she was naked and frozen. I didn't want to have to do it again, to strip her again. So I took pictures to remind myself what she looked like. That's wrong, isn't it, Doctor? I'm not sure I agree with you. It's that bloody Dr. Dekker. He made me this way. It's all his fault. Like I said, I originally presented with depression, and everything was going well for a while. Then Dr. Dekker changed. He was easily distracted during sessions, like he wasn't listening. I'm pretty sure he wasn't listening half the time. I don't think he wanted to know about his patients anymore. But when he did give you advice, he told me to use my imagination, to make something up, to think something crazy, and it would become real. He told me to think of a way to get more time. So I did. But he pushed me. He made me think it.
It's the anniversary of my parents' death today. I went to the lake house. I always go to the lake house anyway, but it's also where they died. They died of carbon monoxide poisoning. I was staying at a friend's house. Otherwise, I would have died too. I stood for a while, looking across the water. It's peaceful there. It's the place that makes me feel the most. There was a girl there, by the lake, only about 9 or 10. She was fishing, if you can call it that, with one of those nets on a stick. I don't know why I talked to her. She looked sad. I don't usually talk to children, but she seemed different, special. I'm allowed to talk to her, aren't I, Doctor? Good. It felt nice. I felt like I was being nice. I felt human. So I can find her and talk to her again, Doctor. Then I will. I'll look for her next time I'm there. David had been hunting again, and, well, she's seen some of the skins he hung around the lake house. David wasn't there. Or at least I didn't see him. I didn't go inside. I forgot my key, and the spare was missing. The day Dr. Dekker was killed, I had a session with him in the morning at my usual time, 11 o'clock. That was the last time I saw him. Dr. Dekker made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. I'll be taking it to the grave with me, though. As did he. Animal skins. David hunts, then skins. It's horrible, really. He's not really good at either job, so the skins still have great lumps of bloody carcass hanging off them. I'm sure he'll get better with practice. Valentine's Day night, I was at the lake house, watching David, like I always do. He has trouble with his mental faculties and is getting worse. Yes, I watch him and make sure nothing bad happens. I don't know. I suppose she just reminded me of me. I spent a lot of time alone as a child. She said she was trying to catch some strange creatures that she's seen in the water. I don't know. Minnows, probably. Everything's strange when you're a child. Met isn't the right word. David has always been there, in the shadows, on the periphery. I move in very exclusive circles. You tend to see the same faces. I don't move in any circles anymore. Those people were my parents' friends, not mine. Love? Yes. I suppose I always will.
I haven't had a great day, to be honest. Someone accused me of stealing from my patients, which I would never do. Plus, Hilda's getting worse. This? Well, it started with this. It's a locket. Alice, one of my patients, gave it to me before she died. I have a few other things. A watch, a ring, One patient gave me a little china bird. They're not valuable, just trinkets, really. Strictly speaking, all of the patient's belongings should be passed on to family members after they die. But Alice's son never visited. He didn't care about his mum. Why would he care about some worthless piece of jewellery? It just doesn't feel right to me. What do you think, Doctor? Am I wrong to keep the locket? Thank you, Doctor. That makes me feel much better. I shouldn't let what Terry says bother me so much. Actually, I had a hot date. It wasn't anything serious, just some guy I know. But it was a nice date. Different to what I'm used to. It was very traditional, old-fashioned, you know? Dinner at a nice restaurant. Then we went for a little walk along the pier. Held hands, had a bit of a kiss. Then he called a cab and I went home, alone. I think it was about 11 when I left Max. I'm sure you could check with the taxi company if you really wanted to, if you think I need an alibi. Yes, I had a session with Dr. Dekker on Valentine's Day. 3 o'clock, I think. Just a few hours later, he was... I still can't get over it. Hilda's the one I mentioned in our last session. She's dying. I can tell. I need to see her before it's too late. To help her finish her unfinished business. People who are dying always have things they wish they could do before they go. We leave a lot of loose ends in our lives. We're very messy that way. Hilda wants to see her daughter. She's in Australia, so I'm going to have to use my talent. I can change my skin. What I look like. I can turn into a patient's loved one. I just hold their hand and ask them to imagine that the person they want to see is sitting right here next to them, and I become them. It's how I help them move on. That's how I comfort them. I only shift at work to help my patients. I don't have any interest in using it as a party trick or to deceive anyone. Of course, it was Terry that accused me of stealing. One of the other nurses. She's actually trying to make out that I'm some kind of HSK. Healthcare serial killer. You know, like those nurses that kill loads of their patients. I'm surprised you haven't heard of it. Anyway, because a few of my patients have died on me, and some of those patients have given me gifts, Terry thinks it means that I've been killing them off. His name is Max. He's really sweet, but I don't see a future between us. He's not really my type. I've known Max a couple of years, but this is the first time we've been on a date. I don't think he's boyfriend material. Dr. Dekker seemed fine on Valentine's Day. He seemed to be in a good mood. It didn't seem like anything was bothering him. I can sense it, you know? It's like when you're outside and there's a sudden change in the light or the air feels different and you know it's going to rain. It's like that. I always know when one of my patients is fading, even before the doctors know. Their energy changes. It sounds silly when I put it into words. I sound like my mum.
I haven't been back to the beach since our last session, and no blackouts, new doctor and new hope. You're much better behaved than Dr. Dekker. Dr. Dekker dated his patients. That's not good behavior, is it? I think her name was Scarlett? One of his patients, an older woman. I guess that's how he liked them. I haven't been back to the beach since our last session. I've kind of missed it. I didn't do anything on Valentine's Day. I washed my hair and then I walked along the beach for the whole night. It's actually true. I saw one of your patients actually. The nurse. She was on the pier with someone. Pretty much all of the night too, so I can vouch for her even though she probably didn't see me. We went out for drinks. Didn't you know? He said it was a breach of something or the other, but I can be pretty persuasive when I want to be. Shh. Yeah, drinks. I think Dr. Dekker ordered neat whiskey. I had water. I don't drink. I guess it was a couple of days before Valentine's Day. It wasn't a date or anything. I noticed in our sessions that he'd been acting a little strange. He just didn't seem right. I wanted to find out what was wrong. I know, it's pretty hard to believe, isn't it? I feel pretty ugly. But I think I have a nice smile. Lots of people find me attractive, but I've seen something truly beautiful. It makes me feel dull by comparison. I have a recurring dream where I find something beautiful in the sea. But I don't know you that well yet, Doctor. Let's wait a while before I tell you my most intimate secrets.
Sorry to cut in, Doctor. I've just had a phone call from a solicitor. Ben's trying to sue us for nervous shock. Should I go and see him to talk it out, or should I find a solicitor to represent us? Sorry to be pushy, I just think we should act quickly before it's too late. Okay, well, just let me know.
like to know? Is our session up now? You do something a lot, you're gonna miss it. I suspect I'll go back there soon, but it's helped with the blackouts. I've danced around in my living room, but no clubs since last time. I like dancing around in my underwear. Sometimes less. People are quick to put labels on everything. I suppose Dr. Dekker was more than just a therapist to me. We had a lot of things in common, but we weren't seeing each other. I'm not seeing anyone at the moment. Are you offering, Doctor? Well, you have my number, Doctor, and my address. I'm sure you can put 2 and 2 together, if you want to.
Hello again, Doctor. I had a bit of a shaky loop incident, but let's not talk about it. Yesterday, I set fire to Hannah's clothes in the garden. I just wanted the day to move forward. I instantly regretted it. And lo and behold, here we are, a new day. Hannah's clothes are a pile of ashes. I've kept almost all of her stuff as she left it. It's just the clothes. I've decided to burn those yesterday, so here I am. Hannah loved clothes. Every season, she'd donate her entire wardrobe to some charity or another, and only buy stuff she loved. I was left with winter. I don't even know what her favourite season was. Does it matter? What's your favourite season, Doctor? If you like summer, it's supposed to be flexible and carefree. You do care, don't you, Doctor? I was at Henley Church on Valentine's Day, visiting Hannah's grave. It was the anniversary of her death. Her parents wanted a huge funeral with all the trimmings. Hannah would never have come for it. It does give me somewhere to visit. I got to write the epitaph. We walk alone without our angel. I'm not religious, but when I wrote Hannah's epitaph, I knew her parents would want some acknowledgement of the great bearded one. But she was an angel to me. She was an angel to everyone. I left Henley Church about 11 o'clock on Valentine's Day. I was talking to an archaeologist who said it uncovered some fossils resembling a strange cephalopod-like creature. Strange place to find an octopus, really. What? Do you think I've got something to do with Dr. Dekker's murder? Maybe you should ask your assistant who Dekker saw that day. Dr. Dekker felt that Hannah was holding me back. The memories of Hannah. In his opinion, I was holding on to the past. So I guess he cursed me, if that's even a thing. I've been alone since Hannah. I can't imagine anyone ever replacing her. Not that I've looked. Do you think I should look for someone else? Okay, fine. I'll try. I'm not really sure what I'm looking for though. Just sign up to Tinder and start swiping. Maybe it's just company I'm missing, although I don't really want any. It was a missed call. It was Valentine's Day, so I wasn't in the mood for conversation.
Yes, Dr. Dekker cursed me. I don't really want to talk about it, but let's just say I blame him for the way I am. Can you give me some advice, Doctor? I've been trying to think how I can get past today. I've come up with a couple of choices. I could set fire to Hannah's photographs. I've got them in Dropbox anyway. But setting fire to the clothes did the trick. Or setting fire to a rocking chair. She sounds like an old lady, but she loved that rocking chair, which I've not sat in since. Which one do you think's best? Set fire to the rocking chair. I never like the way it moves forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards.
Hey you! Thanks for helping me with this grief thing. I'm not sure I have it though. So, should I get a solicitor or shall we try and talk it out with him? I think we should get a solicitor. I know the perfect firm. I'll do it all, don't worry about it. And that's why we've got insurance for these kinds of things anyway. But the cheek of it. On Valentine's Day, Dr. Dekker had a session with Claire Castleford at 11 and that nurse, Elin, at 3. Everyone else cancelled. You should see this place Christmas Eve. I was at home though, so I don't actually know who came in. Dr. Dekker did phone and ask me for Nathan's number, which is a bit strange. I don't really know where to start. I feel a bit numb. Maybe we should just talk about him. It hadn't even been a year. He was a quiet, solitary man. A good listener, as I suppose you'd need to be. His confidence did grow as time wore on, but that's what you'd expect after you've fitted in. I mainly miss our chats. He used to work late with me and tell me things about the patients, things that I probably shouldn't have heard, but did. What do you think of the patients? Nah, perhaps you shouldn't say. You can ask me, go on, I'll tell you what I think. Mariana is a special girl. You know, there's something about her that just makes you want to follow her. Maybe that's what a trendsetter looks like. I think Bryce has a lot of misdirected anger. I don't think I like him that much. You know, sometimes when things overrun, he's outside waiting for you, and he stares at me as if he's undressing me with his eyes. You know, he's not the first person that's done that, but still, you know, it feels worse coming from him. Claire seems to be shaken by something. You know, I offer her drinks every time she comes in, but she always refuses them. It's as if she just wants to come in, get her session over with, and then run off to do something else. It's a bit rude, isn't it? Elin seems like a lovely person. I'm not really sure why she's here. Oh, I just want to cuddle Nathan all up. He's such a mess. He's always in the same clothes. You know, he barely talks to me though. It's the same hello every time. He reminds me of Tom. Tom was a quiet mess, like Nathan. Youngish, in his early 20s. He taught piano, but he did have a strange hobby. Tom liked to base jump. That's basically falling from a huge building or mountain and pulling your parachute before you hit the ground. He started to think he could fly, Dr. Dekker tried to talk him out of it, but Tom had to prove his point. So one day, Tom decided to base jump without a parachute. Can you guess what happened? He did die. He was hit by a rock from further up the mountain. He never got to fly. Nathan thinks he knows what his problem is too, but if he's not careful, he'll get hit by that rock. I wish I'd said goodbye. I wish I'd said goodbye to Dr. Dekker. It was so sudden. Here, then gone. He resigned anyway, but that's not the same, is it? Dr. Dekker resigned shortly before his murder. It's sad, but doctors come and go and only poor Jaya remains. I've got his resignation letter somewhere. I do all the hiring and firing around here. Well, Professor Alderby and the Trust technically do that. Professor Alderby is a trustee. Did I not mention that? We'd work late together on all sorts of things. He was preoccupied with finding patterns in patients, trying to find some kind of order. Mainly he was searching for a common experience the patients might have had. That's what led them to his office. He'd study everything, even the referral letters. Yes, letters, parking tickets, holiday destinations. I find those referral letters. He was sure there was a pattern in them. She was cuddling him like he was 6. He's 25. Most of the patients are suspects according to the police. Almost all the patients are referred, and some of them are privates, but Dr. Dekker didn't introduce any of them. So you watched the tapes? Gold star for you.
David hunts.
I can change my skin.
Then skins.
Dr. Dekker dated his patients.
I had a hot date.
We went out for drinks.
I took photos of Jessica.
Dr. Dekker did phone
On Valentine's Day.
and ask me for Nathan's number.
There was a girl there.
Am I wrong to keep the locket?
I'm allowed to talk to her, aren't I?
He was preoccupied with finding
Photographs.
patterns.
Rocking chair.
I haven't been back to the beach since,
I had a bit of a shaky loop incident.
where I find something
I set fire
beautiful in the sea.
to Hannah's clothes in the garden.
I dug the grave.
I wish I'd said goodbye.
Dr. Dekker cursed me.
It didn't weigh enough to have a body in it.
Oh, Doctor, you surprised me. Reminds me of Officer Yates. Did I ever mention I had a special friend in the police force? Nah, it's not something you drop politely into a conversation. He's been doing some digging and he's found a couple things. There's a crime scene report that goes into all the gory details and another report that's about a patient you're seeing today, Claire. I'll put them both on the desk for you. And thanks for the grief counselling, by the way. It's really been helping, I'm so glad you're here.
I've been to the lake house regularly, keeping an eye on David. I saw the girl again, the one I told you about. She was playing outside. It sounds to me as if Dr. Dekker's murder was a spur-of-the-moment thing. If you were planning to kill someone, you'd bring a weapon with you, wouldn't you? I imagine that the paper spike made a very good weapon, though. It could look quite menacing, glinting in the moonlight. So quick to jump to conclusion, Doctor. Obviously, I meant sunlight. It makes for interesting reading, doesn't it? I can tell you're dying to ask me about it. Fire away. That's what it says. I can see you're confused. The police say that David is dead, fatally wounded when I stabbed him. The coroner says that David is dead. Everyone says that David is dead. There was even a funeral. But I know he's alive. David wanted to have a talk about our relationship. Not something any married person wants to hear. He said he'd been with Iris for about a year and that he loved her. He said he didn't love me anymore. Which I know is a lie. You don't just fall out of love with somebody. I reacted badly. I grabbed the nearest weapon I could find, which happened to be the steak knife, and stabbed him with it. There was so much blood. I instantly regretted it. So I fixed him. It was about a week later. I brought David back to life. Not with voodoo, not with virginal sacrifice. I just willed it to happen, and it did. Dr. Dekker told me it was possible, but only if you're not buried. He says once you're in the ground, there's no coming back. But until then, you have a chance at resurrection. Yes, resurrection. But now that I've seen the results, I don't think there's anything holy about it. I think reanimation is more an accurate term. Like, I'm an evil necromancer raising things from the dead. I think his brain was already decaying during the week that he was dead. Important bits. So when I brought him back to life, I didn't heal him completely. Just gave him life in the state he was in. I mean, he's hunting and killing things and trying to roast them on fires he can only light with matches, but that's about it. He's your basic Neanderthal. So I have a problem. I'm being charged with murder because the police don't know he's still alive, and I can't get David to vouch for me for obvious reasons. I think it would raise quite a few more questions than answers, which is why I'm hoping that you'd be able to help me. Considering the circumstances, I'd be grateful if you could see your way to declaring me temporarily insane at the time of the murder, to lessen my sentence. Because I'm not a killer, but I can't prove otherwise. You don't still think I'm a killer, do you, Doctor? Thank you, Doctor. So then you'll help me. You'll say I was temporarily insane. I'm going to pretend that I didn't hear that. Let's have a few more sessions before you seal our fates. Or is it that you want something else? Like Dr. Dekker did. Dr. Dekker teased me mercilessly about my alleged ability. He didn't believe I'd reanimated David. Once he presented me with a dead mouse and commanded me to give it life again. I didn't, of course. It's not something I'd throw around lightly, He changed his mind about me eventually. And then he mentioned the girl. He told me he'd locked up a girl in the basement of his house, just for me, and he asked me to reanimate her. It was Iris. I said I couldn't reanimate something that wasn't dead, and he said that wouldn't be a problem. So I agreed. I just played along. I was hoping it wasn't real. I assumed it wasn't real. But he was offering me what I wanted, a temporary insanity diagnosis. It didn't happen. Dr. Dekker called me from his house to cancel. He was furious. He said that Iris had escaped and he blamed me for it. He said that I must have set her free after he told me about her. I knew it was all lies anyways. He was obviously titillating himself by reprimanding me. He knew I'd never want to speak to Iris again, so I couldn't prove it either way. Dr. Dekker asked if I could prove David wasn't dead, so I took him to the lake house. He saw that I was telling the truth. I can take you to see him too, if you like. Would you like to see David, Doctor? He's buried at Henley Church. You can go see for yourself. There's even a headstone. One of your other patients was a pallbearer. I never forget her face. You should ask him. Bryce was a pallbearer for David. He's also a grave digger, I believe. Smuggling a body out of a funeral can be difficult, unless you pay the right people. Suit yourself. Perhaps I'll bring David to see you instead. I didn't speak to her this time. Something about her made me feel uneasy. I just watched her from the bedroom window. She'd caught a fish. She was holding it in her hands. I wasn't close enough to see, but for all intents and purposes, it looked as if the fish bit her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive. You tell me. What could possibly explain that? Since I brought him back, I felt that there was something different about him, something not quite right. I think it's his brain. But how ludicrous that you can bring someone back in the first place. It's like that book, Pet Cemetery. Funnily enough, he does smell of earth, but that's because he spends most of his time out hunting. I assure you, David is not a ghost. I've touched him.
Hello, Doctor. I've been thinking about our last session, and I just wanted you to know that I'm not a bad person. I know taking naked photographs is wrong, but you don't know what it's like until you face the same temptation. I'm assuming you don't know what it's like. Do you have an extra hour, Doctor? Thank God for that. There's someone else in my hour. A hooded figure, watching me and following me. I followed it too. I don't know who it is. My initial thought was that it was you. That I told you about my affliction and somehow you'd got it too. Now I think maybe it's the military or some organization that wants to use the hour themselves. Maybe it's Dr. Dekker risen from the dead. I need to talk to you about him. Whatever it is that's following me, it doesn't want to catch me yet. If I move towards it, it runs away. And when I follow it past temptations. A bar brawl, an open till, an open bedroom window. Like it's testing me. I split the brawl up. I did nothing. I'm not stealing any more. I looked in. Watching other people is somehow built into our genes, Doctor. There was an old woman in bed. I went inside. Her bed covers were smoking. I think she'd fallen asleep holding a cigarette. I took the covers and put them in the bath. She'd have died otherwise. And no, I didn't take any pictures. Dr. Dekker frequently used that paper spike on his desk as an example. I'm sure he did it with the other patients too. He'd make me look at it, touch the point to see how sharp it was. He'd tell me that because I think it's sharp, it will hurt me. But if I thought it was nothing, it could pass right through my hand. I'm actually a classically trained pallbearer. There are a lot of health and safety considerations. Not everybody can do it. Well, properly at least. Occasionally I step in if the funeral director is short-shouldered. I do remember her face. She wasn't upset in the usual way. She seemed agitated. Her husband must have been a giant. The coffin was so heavy. I remember because aft port side sprained his ankle. That and he wasn't lifting correctly. Nobody gave me the memo that Claire was telling everybody about our arrangement. Sometimes a few slip out the back for student use too. These things happen in all cemeteries. It's best not to broadcast it. I spied on Dr. Dekker, not long before he was murdered. I'm not sure I should tell you what I saw in his basement. I'd been feeling uneasy with Dr. Dekker for some time. I mentioned how he'd changed before, so I began spying on him at home. One night, the basement door was open, and Dekker was returning upstairs. I skipped past him, and there she was, a girl. It was difficult to tell, it was dark, and she was chained. I removed the chains, dressed her, and sat her in the police station. There's no evidence, though. No evidence of what he'd done. But she was free. I saved her. I'm not evil. I destroyed evil. I'm surprised I haven't been approached earlier. I mean, my skills in the military. Special ops would be a breeze, wouldn't it? Waltz in past everyone during the midnight hour, get whatever you want, and return to friendly soil. It also makes me think that they might already know all of that, and that they want to get rid of me in case I tell anyone else. Would you do something for me if they get me? Would you tell Jessica I love her? She didn't really know me that well, but I did love her. And also, there's a hard drive in the bottom drawer of my drinks cabinet. Please destroy it. Please, don't look at it. Common or garden rocks. It's actually quite handy sometimes having an archaeological dig going on next door, although I'd rather there wasn't. I put my hand through a rusty nail at work today. It hurt like hell and bled like I'd been shot. I closed my eyes and thought, this isn't happening. The nail is just a worm and it will wriggle through me. When I looked back, can you guess what I saw? When I looked back at my hand, it was healed. Look, see? My hand had healed. The nail had become a worm and was wriggling in my palm. It was like a little miracle. Like magic. I shouldn't really say miracle or magic. They're words that Dr. Dekker used when he tried to get you to think things and make them real. But do you think it's real, Doctor? That magic is real? Then so it isn't. I envy you, Doctor. I wish I could be so sure. I find using nautical terms to describe the position of pallbearers fitting. Plus, most of them are 3 sheets to the wind. You know, drunk. Jessica is a beautiful woman. I've not spied on her since the incident we talked about. I have real feelings for her, Doctor. We've never connected. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. It's nice you think I'm capable of such basic interaction with females. But I'm still in awe of her, really. I will think about it, though.
I'm fine. I'm ready for my grief counselling. I emailed you Mariana's address. I don't know why you'd want it. I suppose you're going to start doing home visits now, like Dr. Dekker? Yes, Dr. Dekker started doing home visits for Mariana. He said she couldn't concentrate properly in his office. I hope you're not thinking of doing the same thing. I need you right where I can see you. Checks and balances, Doctor. Somebody needs to be watching the watchman, so to speak. Make sure you're helping, not hindering. He probably did his fair share of helping and hindering. He was definitely helping in the beginning, but then seemed to lose sight of things. I think he was so overwhelmed by the patients he was getting. His curiosity just got the better of him. There was a definite turning point. Somewhere around the time Professor Alderby turned up, that seemed to unsettle him. And then we had a flood of extra weird patients. I think it was all too much for him. I think I misjudged him. I hope you deal with it better. It's in that police report that I gave to you. You should really take a look at it. I think that's all settled now. We are agreeing to pay Ben £5,000 and he's agreeing not to say anything about what he saw. He thought he saw a creature coming out of Dr. Dekker's mouth. Well, at least that's the reason he's given for not emptying the bins that night. Either way, it's not the kind of publicity that we need. Shiny, happy, sane people. Some mornings I come into work and still expect him to be here. Sometimes it feels like he actually is here, watching over me. We had a connection. It's gone now, though. You can't have a connection with the dead, can you? Not for too long, anyway. Dr. Dekker asked me to have dinner with him for Valentine's. I refused, obviously, because you don't sleep where you eat or something like that. But it was flattering, especially with competition like Mariana around. I was at home on my lonesome, doctor, like I said before. Grief is such a strange word if you keep saying it. Grief, grief, grief. It sounds like somebody's being whipped. And you're gonna ask me how I feel today? Sorry, I didn't mean I was competing. I was happy Mariana was going out with him. I didn't want to be romantic with him. We had a stronger connection than that. Dr. Dekker and I shared some philosophy. We'd both read The Cult of the Kinetic Mind, and we agreed with a lot of what it said. Have you read that book, Doctor? In Cult of the Kinetic Mind, the author suggests that everyone is capable of psychokinesis and that the cult leaders specifically had these powers that turned their followers into disciples. It's not a fun read, but if you're into psychology, it's a blast. Psychokinesis is the ability to change the physical world without actually touching it, just by using your mind. It's not just about bending spoons. It covers all sorts of things like telepathy, telekinesis, telesabalas. Shoot me, I'm a Kojak fan. Like I said, all those cool things are in Cult of the Kinetic Mind, apart from Kojak, obviously. If you ever get a patient who thinks they can change the world with just their mind, then duck, just in case they can. But seriously, do a whole load of shrinking and make them better. Whether you believe in psychokinesis or not, you'll need to figure out your approach with those that do. No, not at all in my experience. Dr. Dekker had an unusual number of patients who claimed psychokinesis. Either he'd been specifically looking for them or someone had been sending them. It's entirely possible that someone is targeting this practice with psychokinetic patients. To what end, I don't know. It's no coincidence that most psychokinetic patients are diagnosed as insane, or at least temporarily insane. It's a handy diagnosis if you're facing criminal prosecution, especially if it's for murder. How do you make people who think they have special powers better? Do you remain passive and support, encourage them, take them away? Things could escalate. Building trust is one thing, but at what cost?
I'm okay, I suppose. Work's fine. Hilda's fading fast. Terry's Terry. I feel a bit sad, to be honest. I gave all my keepsakes back. Well, I thought about it, and well, I know you said it was okay, that I should keep them, but maybe it did look a bit suspicious, me having things that have belonged to patients who've died in my care. I don't want people to get the wrong idea about me. The locket, the watch, the ring, even the little bird Sarah Dekker gave me. I wasn't supposed to mention her. It's true then. I'd heard Dr. Dekker was stabbed, but I didn't know for sure. It's weird that whoever did it would choose the paper spike. Dr. Dekker used to play with it in our sessions sometimes. You know, pick it up, handle it while we talked. I remember once, he pushed the spike through his skin. Yeah, this bit here between his thumb and his finger. He said he didn't think I'd mind the sight of blood, being a nurse and all that, but actually, there wasn't any. I was a bit freaked out. At first, I thought it was a trick. A magic trick, you know? Like some kind of therapeutic test. Show the patient this retractable spike and see how they react. But it wasn't. The spike was real. Dr. Dekker gave me the paper spike to try. It wasn't fake. It was pretty sharp, actually. I don't know how he did it. He said he just thought that it wouldn't hurt him, so it didn't. Hilda's nearing the end. She's been sleeping a lot, not eating much. She hasn't been that argumentative either. Although, she did give me a vicious scratch yesterday. It was nothing. I was just trying to give her meds. It's hard, you know? I'm trying to help her, but she keeps fighting me. It'll be better after she's seen her daughter. I've decided I'm going to do it tonight. She hasn't got much time left. You know the answer to that, Doctor. What have we been talking about? What can I do for Hilda that will make it all better? That's the plan. I know, it sounds unbelievable, like I'm making it up. I wish I could prove it to you somehow. We could try shifting now. Think of someone you really love. It might help if you close your eyes. Are you thinking of them? Can you picture them? Okay, hold on. sorry. I don't think it's going to work. On the bright side, that probably means you're not going to die anytime soon. It's tricky. I mean, I'll sound exactly like Hilda's daughter, but I try and keep it vague because I don't become her. I don't know what she would really say. I say things like, it's okay, don't be scared, I love you, Mum, or I love you, Dad. But it doesn't really matter what their relationship's like because it's not really them. I always do the Disney version. The best, most loving version. That's what my patients want to hear. And maybe deep down they know it's not the truth, but it's got to be better than the reality. Terry seems to have backed down since I gave the keepsakes back. Actually, it doesn't seem like she's been very well. Not her usual self. Maybe she's got a bug or something. Dr. Dekker's mother. She was one of my first patients, but she died a while ago. Does it really matter if it isn't the truth? Isn't it worth it if it brings them peace? Tell me honestly, Doctor, do you really think that what I'm doing is wrong? Good, because I really feel this is something I have to do.
I'm okay. Thanks for asking. It's rent day, and I always feel a little blue on rent day. Rent day is the day I pay rent to my landlady. Dr. Dekker used to put my checks on that thing. I guess someone thought they weren't getting value for money. I actually don't have a lot of money. Sometimes a therapy check would bounce, but Dr. Dekker would be okay with it. Oh, my checks are fine though, don't worry. I've had no blackouts, and I haven't been to the beach since our last session. But I think I will today. Do you want to come with me to the beach? Doctor, I think you're getting a little anxious. If you ever wanted to visit the beach, you can just turn up. It's not mine. You've got a good memory, Doctor. Let's talk dreams. Sometimes I'll dream about a light, deep in the ocean somewhere. I head towards it because it's warm and glowing, like a beacon. And when I'm at the bottom, it's the most beautiful thing. Like a welcoming sun. Like I'm home. And then I wake up. It's so beautiful. It calls me. It's like I'm in a trance. What does the dream mean, Doctor? Yes, I suppose I follow that glow like people follow me. I still don't know what it means, though. I'm not broke. Men buy me drinks at bars, though. Sometimes I'll get away with not paying at restaurants. Isn't that how it is for everybody? I mainly like drive-thrus. I don't like crowds, and I find it difficult to stay in the same place for too long. I guess I'm a fidget. Crowds at nightclubs and bars are different. The lights are dim. You can slink around without attracting too much attention. Sometimes I'll kiss a guy in a club, and then he just follows me wherever I go. It's creepy. I don't want everyone seeing that. They follow me wherever I go. Anywhere. Where do you think they follow me, Doctor? It depends where they follow me. If they follow me home, they bang on the door for an hour or so, then leave. Other places, they just disappear. I don't see them again. They don't just disappear into thin air. I think they return to the place I found them. But I've not run into the same person twice. Yes, they follow me home. They're silent. It's like a trance. There was one guy, a real gym buddy. I let him into the bedroom, but nothing. Nothing I did would stop him just staring at me. It was creepy. I got him to follow me outside, and then I just shut the door. It's just good manners to accept when someone offers to buy you a drink. I'm a very good-natured girl. Are we still talking about him? And I thought you were just interested in me, Doctor. Dr. Dekker suggested home visits. I think he was probably checking up on his investment. You're not thinking of doing home visits, are you, Doctor? I can't afford any more sessions, so it sounds like you'll be paying. That's a date, isn't it, Doctor? I'm not sure that's appropriate.
I burned Hannah's rocking chair. The day moved forward. It was a good choice. I'm not sure I've got much left of hers now. I've burnt most of it, or given it away, just to make the days move forward. There was a moment when I was attacking a Salvation Army bin, but I gave in. I accidentally put Hannah's diary into a Salvation Army donation bin. They're like huge post boxes with a circular tray that makes sure things spill to the bottom. I tried to get in to get it back, but I gave up. I read the last few weeks of Hannah's diary a while ago. I must have accidentally dropped in some clothes for the Salvation Army bin. It's funny, because I wasn't going to read it. She said she'd fallen out of love with me, that she was going to break off the engagement, that she didn't love me anymore. I regretted it. I regretted that I mourned for Hannah so long. I regret the grief. I regret all the days I slept through because of it. Had I known she didn't love me anymore, things would have been different. I'm a bit angry now. If I had that day over again, I may just still pull out in front of the driver. I didn't notice Dr. Dekker had a paper spike. I haven't really seen more than a foot in front of me since Hannah died. I've told you all I know about Dr. Dekker. He started out good, then turned a bit crazy towards the end. When you start giving people more problems as a therapist, that's a bit crazy. I think that he possibly cursed other people, a bit like he cursed me. Sometimes you could see he was bursting to tell me about it, but he couldn't. He was ecstatic with power. I started out with depression. Now I seem to repeat days. Even if you don't believe the repeat days, then I clearly have extra mental health problems that he's given me. The curse. Well remembered. I was hoping you'd forget. It's going to sound crazy. Dr. Dekker said I would never be able to move forward until I came to terms with my grief. And so from this point on, I start to relive the same day over and over again until I made something of it. I believed him. I didn't want to believe him. I remember I said, you can't just say things and they happen. He laughed and laughed. I think he was going mad. He said he'd give me a demonstration. He held his hand outstretched and told me to look at the flame. There was no flame, and then there was. He was holding a flame in his hand that had come out of nowhere. And he tried to hypnotize me to make me forget it. I didn't forget seeing the flame. He wanted me to forget it all, but I didn't. For whatever reason, he couldn't undo what he'd done. I was scared. I pretended like the hypnosis had worked. I was scared what Dr. Dekker would do to me if he found out I still knew. So I had to play along, keep coming to the sessions, pretend I hadn't seen what he'd done. It was awful, because I was suffering through the same days over and over again, but I couldn't talk to him about it, because he'd know. He'd become bored of me, so I got much of my insight from calls or messages he'd take during our sessions. I think because he hypnotized me, he didn't want to play with me anymore, so I got basic therapist. He told me lots of people get depression, to become more active, see more people, and although he wouldn't always be there to listen, Jaya would be. Yeah, I talked to her quite a lot. I'm not sure how many days of that she'd remember. She seemed to care, which is more I can say for Dekker. Can we maybe not talk about Hannah anymore? And thanks for the dating advice, by the way. I signed up for a dating website. It's a bit easy, to be honest. If I message something they don't like, I change it when the day replays. It's not very honest. If I'm being honest, I'd probably rather ask out one of the patients I've seen here. The friendly redhead with the accent.